Hello and thanks for joining the program today. I am Rosemary UKOKO-TEGA. The maize is the summary of all activities at both chambers of the National Assembly for the week. Precisely at this time at 8 p.m. every Friday, we do the legislative bidding together. Today's highlights: passage of State Police Bill for second reading at the Green Chamber. Senate's resolve to investigate 30 trillion naira Ways and Means request by ex-President Buhari's administration. Now, just to prepare your mind, those two subjects generated such a thick yet vibrant debate among lawmakers at the chambers. Just stay with us on ASO Television, DSTV 392, Star Times 127, Free TV 507 on the UHF band 38, and you won't have to miss any details.
We are a nation blessed with people of diverse cultures, religions, languages, and opinions. It is ironic that we are now being ripped apart by our greatest strength, our diversity. We have allowed intolerance, insensitivity, bigotry, and nepotism to blind our vision of the greatness we can achieve working together as one. We may not have the same culture, nor religion, nor language, but we all belong to the same nation by the divine will of God. We did not choose to be Nigerians. Nigeria chose us. This nation is our divine heritage, and if we open our eyes, we would realize that what divides us pales in comparison to what unites us. And by the comparison and conciliation of our differences, we will grow until our differences disappear. Our unity cannot be willed by mere declarations, nor do we get unity by ignoring the questions that beg for answers. We must celebrate our diversity and debate our differences without fracturing our unity. Our strength is not in our numbers, but in our unity, because even the weak become strong when united. Nigeria unite.
This message is brought to you by Abuja Broadcasting Corporation, owners and operators of ASO Radio 93.5 FM Abuja, ASO Television DSTV Channel 392, Star Times Terrestrial Channel 127, Free TV Channel 507, People's TV Channel 285, and UHF Channel 38.
This is the maize on ASO Television. We go ahead. This week, like the last, had lawmakers attending to legislative calls right from Monday. The Green Chamber was the early bird here. Speaker Tajuddin Abbas unveiled the Parliamentary Development Program before representatives of the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, civil society organizations, CSOs, and other partners. The document, according to the Speaker, is a product of previously conducted need assessment. Findings contained therein will now be implemented to enhance functioning and productivity of the 10th House of Representatives. Time now to have the Speaker do the unveiling after remark by the Clerk of the House and presentations by stakeholders. Speaker Abbas was represented at the event by his deputy, Benjamin Kalu.
We are here to witness what I call an interparliamentary wedding between the House of Reps and the development partners through the PCU. This is a structured initiative aimed at enhancing the capacity and effectiveness of parliamentary institutions in the country. The program focuses on strengthening the National Assembly by providing support, training, and technical assistance to parliamentarians and parliamentary staff in areas such as legislative drafting, policy analysis, budgeting, oversight, representation, etc.
I would like to emphasize that UNDP, as the global lead development agency with a mandate of governance and support to parliamentary institutions, will continue to support the legislative agenda and the government of Nigeria to fulfill their obligations to the citizens.
I want to sincerely, believe that this will open a good window of opportunity for dialogue and constructive engagement with the various interest groups, not only the private sector, not only the civil society, but every other interest group that want to support or want to work with the National Assembly. And I totally agree that this imperialist agenda of anybody coming from outside to dump things here should not be taken. And therefore, anybody, any partner that is selling the dummy of things that are not consistent with the national interest, I think, please, I plead with you not to really give that. And that is why I want you to take note, National Planning Commission that is supposed to be regulating what development partners are doing. Because of corruption, they've abandoned their work. I want to appeal to you that you should really get back National Planning Commission to do its work. Thank you very much, sir.
The fact that these documents are on ground is a testament to the fact that new frontiers have been opened to legislative business at this 10th Assembly. And for Young Africa, the doors of the organization are widely open and very ready to partner with various committees and the House to ensure that the legislative agenda is implemented to the best it can be.
Not that this is the first time that this kind of bold step is coming up, but this is so visible to the blind and audible to the deaf that the Nigerian legislature has decided to play a very critical role in national development discourse rather than be a bystander. And I think I add my voice to say congratulations.
This is a work in progress. This is a living document. So let's fill it with life and let's keep it alive, please. And a third and last point is that we need to be clear that we need to make monitoring of the legislative agenda and monitoring the implementation a priority for all of us.
It is with a deep sense of fulfillment that I join you at this official public presentation of the results of the Capacity Needs Assessment Study conducted by the House with the support of the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, and other partners. As a result, the document before us today reflects our current capabilities and the urgent requirements needed to elevate the standard of our legislative functions. The need for continuous capacity strengthening in the legislature is well known to us all. The high turnover rate at the National Assembly poses a significant challenge to maintaining continuity and building on the institutional knowledge that is crucial for effective governance. In this 10th Assembly, over 80% of the members are new to the legislature. This phenomenon, combined with the growing expectations of our citizens for transparency, for accountability, and efficiency, underscores the urgent need for a robust framework for capacity building within the legislature. It is now my honor to present the Parliamentary Development Program for the 10th House of Representatives. Thank you, and may God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Now to other major proceedings at plenaries. At resumed plenary on Tuesday, Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu, in a rather emotional and hope-laden speech, asked Nigerians to have patience in the face of biting economic hardship and colleagues to not grow weary in shouldering legislative responsibilities. Here is a little of the Deputy Speaker's speech.
The Nigerian spirit is not one that cowers in the face of adversity. We're a nation forged in resilience, a people united by dogged determination. The challenges we confront may seem insurmountable, yet, amidst this trial, amidst the anxieties and frustrations, I ask you, my colleagues, to remember the words of a great leader. Facing a seemingly insurmountable foe, we have before us an ordeal of the most grievous kind. We have before us many, many long months of struggle and of suffering. But I say to you, my friends, fear not. Just as Winston Churchill relied and rallied his nation in this darkest hour, so too we must rise to the occasion. This is not a time for division. This is not a time for despair. This is not a time for pointing fingers. This is a time for unity. This is the time for strength. This is a time for a staunch belief in ourselves and in the future of our beloved Nigeria. Do the challenges seem immense? Yes, they do. But are they insurmountable? Absolutely not. We have the tools, the talent, and the tenacity to overcome. The macroeconomic management approach laid out by the Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration, while demanding sacrifice, is a necessary step towards long-term stability and prosperity. Let us trust in the expertise of those tasked with guiding our economic course, even as we hold them accountable for their actions. But remember, fellow Nigerians, true progress cannot be achieved solely through policy pronouncement. It requires the collective effort of each and every one of us. Let us rise above petty squabbles and unite in a common purpose. Let us channel our frustration into constructive criticisms, into holding ourselves and our leaders accountable, but always with the betterment of our nation as a guiding star. We are Nigerians, and within us lies the power to overcome any obstacle. Let us rise to the challenge hand in hand, heart to heart, and together build a brighter, more prosperous future for ourselves and for generations to come. Go forth, colleagues, with renewed hope, with relentless resolve, and with the unshakable belief that united we can and we will prevail. Remember, the Nigerian spirit thrives not in comfort, but in the crucible of challenge. Let us rise to the occasion and show the world the true meaning of resilience, of unity, and of unwavering hope. May God bless us as we, as Parliament, work seriously for this nation building, for a nation that we are all proud of. And we will protect and make sure that it remains a nation that our children will be proud of. God bless you, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
An urgent action should have to sustain Nigerian spirit in every Nigerian, if you ask me. Now to the all-important bill of the week, the state police. Soon after the presiding officer's hope speech was the bill on state police. The proposed legislation titled A Bill for an Act to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to provide for establishment of state police and for related matters, HB 617, is being sponsored by the Deputy Speaker, Mr. Benjamin Kalu, and 14 other lawmakers. A member, Mr. Tolani Shagaya, who is co-sponsor of the bill, led debate on the general principles. This attracted a robust debate on the floor, with a good number of lawmakers applauding the timing. The presiding officer, Benjamin Kalu, put the voting question and members passed the bill for second reading. Now the proceeding.
Today I rise in strong support of the establishment of state police forces across Nigeria. A proposition that not only aligns with the principles of federalism, but also responds to the urgent security needs of our diverse and evolving society. Our discussions begin with the bedrock of our nation's governance, the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended. Though the Constitution currently vests the responsibility of policing in the federal government, it is imperative to revisit this framework to reflect the realities of our federated states. The essence of federalism is to empower states to handle their affairs, including security, which is paramount to the well-being of their citizens. Amending the Constitution to allow for state policing is not only a step towards true federalism, but also an acknowledgement of the diverse security challenges that vary from one state to another. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the Nigerian security landscape is marred by multifaceted challenges ranging from insurgency in the northeast, communal clashes in the Middle Belt, to piracy and pipeline vandalism in the South-South. The challenges underscore the limitations of a centralized policing system. State police forces familiar with their local terrains and socio-cultural dynamics, as it is, honorable colleagues, across the country. We have the likes of Amotekun, we have Neighborhood Watch, we have Ebubeagu in the southeast. What we're trying to do and what this bill seeks to do is to streamline those activities in such a way that those organizations do not fall on the other side of the law. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, this bill, which comprises 18 clauses, seeks to alter sections 34, 35, 39, 42, 84, 89, and 129 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as altered. It also seeks to alter sections 153, 197, 214, 215, and 216 of the Constitution. Furthermore, the bill seeks to alter Chapter 6, Part 3 of the Second Schedule, Part 2 of the Third Schedule, and Part 3 of the Third Schedule of the Constitution as well. Among others, some of the key innovations of this proposed alteration include: A, the transfer of police from the exclusive legislative list to the concurrent legislative list, a move that effectively empowers states to have state-controlled policing. B, the introduction of a comprehensive framework to ensure cohesion as well as accountability and uniform standards between federal police and state police.
Mr. Speaker, for those of us in the Northeast, we don't need a soothsayer to tell us that it's timely and appropriate for us to have a state policy. Mr. Speaker, when the issue of Boko Haram became something out of the control of all agents of coercion, the state government must embark on establishment of what we call civilian JTF to augment the effort of our Nigerian military and other agents of coercion in the operations in the Northeast.
Mr. Speaker, today, the UN density for police is 4:1. We have a population of 200 million people, and the number of our policemen are under 400,000. It is appalling indeed. How do we remedy this? What are the constraints to state police? People talk about funding. Mr. Speaker, I want to suggest that the police should be licensed like universities are licensed. For instance, if you want to set up a university in a state, if a state wants to set up a university, they will go to the NUC. NUC will license them. So we should find a way of licensing police. Any state that meets the condition precedents that is formed by maybe the Police Service Commission can apply. If the 36 states believe they have the funding, they have the capacity, they have the need for a state police, they apply to the Police Service Commission. If they meet the condition precedents to draw down or to license, they can be obliged.
I cannot be happier than I am today, because if you go through the foundation of this country, this bill is like a return to what we have always had, what made us Nigeria. This bill will contribute towards the understanding of that word, federation. It will cure that tragedy of the Unitary Decree of 1966. But we have to be careful. We have to be committed enough, because this is not the first time that this attempt is made. It's like we have always loved inflicting pains on ourselves. This state police had been proposed in the 8th Assembly, it failed. The 9th Assembly, it failed. Here again we are, the 10th Assembly. I want to urge all of us, we have had enough of insecurity. This is one sure way of guaranteeing that we can sleep with our 2 eyes closed. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Let me make a confession that in the 7th and 8th Assembly, I am one of those who champion the killing of this type of bill. Our reasoning then was that state governors will use the bill to intimidate and harass political opponents. But with the situation we are in now, we have gone far, far beyond that. We are now concerned with what is the primary purpose of government: protection of life and property. I believe that is the most important job for all of us that are elected into office. And as we speak today, Nigeria is on fire everywhere. There is lack of security, there is lack of prosperity, there is lack of this, lack of this. And the only way to remedy this situation, one of the ways is to create more employment opportunities. Another way is to increase the size of the security agencies. And I believe by creating a police force, each state will be in a better position. So I believe we are in need of their need, let me say, of state police. And I urge all my honorable colleagues not to make the mistake we made in 7th and 8th Assembly, to make sure we pass this bill into law. I so submit, Mr. Speaker.
It will be self-serving to go the other way, but it's good to hear from the House. Let me hear Honorable Sada Soli, who has been raising his hand since.
Mr. Speaker, I will talk in a semantic manner. Mr. Speaker, about 21 states or so in this country are caught up in the quagmire of socio-political, ethno-religious misunderstanding. Put the case of establishing state police in these 20 states. I can give you an example. How do you create and balance the establishment of a state police in the trajectory history of political situation in Plateau states today, or Benue State, or Taraba State? It's a noble idea, but the problem is we. It's we. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, as of today, we're a living witness. The federal government is battling on how to fund 300 or 400,000 police force in this country. Some of the states that we are clamoring to establish police states are not even viable economically. Let's tell ourselves the truth. Policing is capital intensive. The literature is there, how other jurisdictions establish police force. First, you have to address the issue of socio-political issues of those societies. Then you have to cement the unity of those societies before you establish police force. Those are some of the critical requirements. It's a noble idea. Mr. Speaker, today, you and I know the influence of ruling parties in states. I can tell you there was a time when a governor refused a presidential candidate to land at an airport. It's an evidence that they can be used for coercion, for persecution of the opposition, and, Mr. Speaker, there is no state where we don't have non-indigens. It could be an instrument of persecuting the non-indigen factor in this country.
Okay.
We must look at all this, the government, but it's a noble idea.
So are you saying yes or no to it?
Mr. Speaker, that's why I narrowed my discussions on the order 12.
Take a position. Take a position.
No, Mr. Speaker, the rule narrowed me to discuss the general merits and the principles of the bill. I do not want to take position.
Okay, we have you. Let's give other people opportunity to also elaborate on this. Honorable,
page 85.
Thank you.
I do not want to take
Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I rise this morning, this afternoon, to support this bill. Mr. Speaker, we are overflogging this issue. Overflogging in the sense that so many states we have security outfits. When they come out in their uniform, it gives impetus to the communities. You are so conscious that you have security. What we are talking about now is the legal support so that they can arm themselves openly. That is what we are talking about. There is no need for us to go against this bill. My dear colleagues, please, let's expand our reasonings. Let's not be myopic, looking at the negative aspect of it. The benefits are overwhelming. When you have your person in charge of your security, you bring a stranger from Adamawa State to be commissioner in Bayelsa State. He does not know the terrain. But if you have our own police, the commander and everything will go smoothly. We may not have 100% benefit, but I bet you we will have peace. All this banditry and so on, because we know who is who in our community. We know. As soon as we are giving that legal backing to control that security, we'll be able to achieve. Mr. Speaker, please, let's not overflog this issue. Thank you.
I rise to support this bill, even though I have some fears. And expressing my fears is maybe in our attempt to package this bill, we'll be able to take in cognizance of some gray areas and leakages within which, by the time when we are done with the bill, it may give us the expected result.
Mr. Speaker, for more than 20 years, I have canvassed this same motion that we should have a police structure different from what it is, today. I'm happy with the motion, but I have issues, with it. First, if a member says here that this same motion has come in the 7th Assembly, 8, 9, and whatever, and it has never seen the light of the day, it suggests to me that there's a problem, to it. Beautiful as it is, why is it not seeing the light of the day? And I tell you, perhaps we are letting the cat, before the horse. Nigerians do not know the structure of what it will take to have a police structure different from what it is, today. And what do I mean, by that? The mere use of the word state police is causing problems. The mere use of the word state police is causing problems. It's making Nigerians think, that once you establish a state police, it will be in the control of the governor and can be used for whatever the case may be. No. That is why I say, let us look at it critically and leave the word state police and go for the word decentralization of the Nigerian police force into different commands. And the commands are interrelated, together. For example,
have it. So if you have amendments and all, take it to the committee. This motion is referred to Committee on Constitution Review.
Before going to the Red Chamber, we quickly take a motion urging for timely release of approved budgetary allocations for provision of infrastructural projects across the Federal Capital Territory, the FCT. The motion, standing in the name of a member from Abia State, Mr. Chris Okwonta, is also full of praises for the FCT Minister, Nyesom Wike. The motion.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for this opportunity to commend the minister that has been doing so well since he came over to Abuja. The title of my motion, Mr. Speaker, is the need to support the various road projects and infrastructural projects in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Mr. Speaker, in line with your direction, I'll go straight to read the prayers of this motion. Number one, urge the Ministry of Finance and Budget Office to ensure the timely release of FCT budgetary allocations and funds. Number two, commend Minister Nyesom Wike for his determination in overseeing the construction of various road infrastructures and successfully concluding previously neglected projects within a relatively short time frame. And finally, Mr. Speaker, mandate the Committee on FCT to closely monitor the various infrastructural projects and ensure the removal of any obstacles to the completion of the various ongoing projects. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I so move.
Amended, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
We are now on the floor of the Senate. Like the police bill at the House, a motion calling for investigation into request of 30 trillion naira ways and means by ex-President Buhari's administration caused a long debate among senators. This is coming as the lawmakers at the Red Chamber were visibly bothered by Nigeria's economic woes. Well, here is how it was on the floor of the Senate.
We look at a special committee to interrogate, investigate, and report back to the Senate on those so-called intervention disbursements, and then and ways of even getting back the disbursements. Then you mentioned that some of the monies were also grants. Yes. Okay, information.
Mr. President, I just want to correct an assumption that was the only thing that was authorized by this August Senate or National Assembly or was utilized as part of our budget was less than 1 trillion. It's 891 billion or so, which was the supplementary appropriations, but the entire money was spent before it was brought here for approval. It was spent before it was brought here for approval. It was because of that. You spend a lot of money like this and our roads are bad. Our roads were bad. Look at the chairman of the committee was here. Then 819 is 819 billion that was now brought as supplementary appropriations, and it wasn't even spent. It was later that was it was amended again when you were the Senate president. That's the only thing. That's the only thing that goes as part of the budget. I mean, of spending authorized by the National Assembly. So it wasn't part of. We're not. It was. They were all spent before they were brought here. So that like my saying is.
Okay, the distinguished colleagues, President is saying, is that the ways and means where monies expended outside appropriation, and that before the totality were brought here, that the monies had already been expended without the knowledge of Parliament, and that and therefore the Parliament still has the right to take a look at what the monies were actually used for.
As the JS said, what this chamber approved was 819. And we said that the other monies that has been spent cumulatively to, was it 20-something trillion? That the details should be provided. It has never been provided to date. This committee or whatever should find out what happened to the money. And some people must be held responsible, or at least they should come and explain to this Senate what they did with the money. Now it's time that people are looking for their money anywhere. Where is that money? That should be the big question. Mr. President.
This 4.1 on ways and means says the government should prioritize liquidating the 30 trillion ways and means obligation of the federal government through a quicker resolution mechanism. I said that recommendation is not precise. Quicker resolution mechanism instead of the securitization for 40 years. And from the way the discussion has come up now, this clarification introduced by DSP has now made that provision very imprecise. If some people spent money before bringing it to the parliament for approval or appropriation, where did they get the money they spent? Because they spent money and they came here to look for approval over money they have spent. Now it's not an obligation again. It is classified as obligation, 30 trillion. This debt overhang, Mr. President, is responsible for the problems we're having. This 30 trillion debt overhang, which nobody says he knows the detail, how they spent that money. Outside 809-something billion, which this parliament, this Senate approved. 800-something billion, they approved. So about 20-something trillion, they knew nothing about it. They didn't know how the money was spent, what it was spent on. And we're carrying it on. So the committee recommended that there should be, the liquidation of that 30 trillion should be prioritized. Liquidation should be prioritized. It means that we should be able to take care of it through quicker resolution mechanism. So they didn't say what this quicker resolution mechanism will be. They didn't say it.
Senator Ome, let me guide older senators who were in the last 9 Senate are saying is that the total amount of this 30 trillion were brought before them for approval so that the records could be set straight. But however, that they left the caveat that yes, we can approve this, but we want to see the details. And that up till now, the details have not been provided. That the only detail provided is the one contained in the 819 supplementary appropriation of 2022, which is the 819 billion, less than 1 trillion. So 29 trillion plus of this amount.
And in addition, Mr. Speaker, yeah. Please, this information is very important. We don't have the right to rectify. We only have the right to approve. Check the Constitution.
Senator Goje.
Thank you, Mr. President. They legalized the 22 billion trillion that was given to us for the waste and means. We passed that one, but it doesn't mean we cannot investigate. We ask for details. Details were not given to us, so we can investigate how the money was spent. It's our own right, but we have already legalized the spending by passing. No, we have legalized it by passing in this Senate, but we can still investigate. And that's what we are saying. But I think, Mr. President, since I am on my feet, protect me, Mr. President. Since we have almost agreed that we are going to set up a committee, all those details I will be there at the committee level. So let's go ahead and set up a committee to investigate all those things. Details will be brought out by the ad hoc committee.
Senator Ndume, you were there when the Ways and Means were approved.
I was not there. I was not there.
But the Senate passed it.
It was part of the parliament. Okay, sir. Check. I was not there. Check the record. And as I said, number one, wait now. You cannot, I repeat, you cannot approve illegality. What they did was illegal. The Senate doesn't have the right. Let it be on record. I was not there. I was not there. Check the record. I was not there, but you were there. But I was not there. I was not there. I was not there. Go and check the record.
Well,
I think I have the floor.
I want you to know that Senator Ndume cannot remember being there when the thing was done. Okay.
Mr. President, thoroughly, the easiest thing you do is set up this committee to interrogate this issue, because there should be no holds barred. Everything should be made available. Everything should come to the light, so that Nigerians will know what has happened. And if need be, the actors should be at the consequences of their action. We shouldn't protect anybody. We are in a very serious situation in this country now. Mr. President, don't waste time. Please set up this committee to investigate this issue. Thank you.
Please do not quarrel. You see, somehow when I kept hearing Ways and Means, and the senators have been grumbling that they were not aware of the details of the so-called Ways and Means for almost 29 trillion. I knew that a day will come when the Senate will insist on knowing the details in these Ways and Means. So what has come up with the current economic situation we have found ourselves, Senator Alero, please, with the situation, the economic marasmus that we have found ourselves today, I think it's important for us to know that government is a continuum. Government is a continuum. So whether the Senate, for purposes of clearing the record, approve it or not, we still have a right. Yes, we have a right to know. We have a right to know the details. We have a right to know the details. Am I right? So we can review it. But no, but please, I've seen the former Senate President would like to add clarification.
Excuse me, please. Order. Mr. President, it's good I make a clarification. Our understanding. Mr. President,
so Ways and Means, even though there are two words there, Ways and Means, those words are the things causing confusion now. The approval or otherwise. Are you going to address it? Do you have the details? Because what the senators are saying is that they would like to know the details of what the monies were used for. Am I right? That's what the senators are saying. You that is going to explain, do you have the details? Chairman appropriation. Did you appropriate for the Ways and Means? Did you appropriate? Did you appropriate? Distinguished colleagues, Barra Jibrin, Deputy Senate President, himself was the chairman of appropriation. So please explain whether you have the details.
Well, Mr. President, it is expected we always collaborate and assist the executive government in the case of emergency. And when those requests were brought here, we knew they were done due to certain situations of emergency. Now, we said, yes, we are going to pass it. In fact, but why did you even put it together this way? 23 trillion. They said they were because of certain situations that were urgent. We said, now, okay, we are going to pass it, but bring your details later. Bring your details later. And it was a collective action by the Senate. And that was done. Even today, if President Tinubu brings in...
please, the President Tinubu will not bring 30 trillion ways and means. We are talking about 30 trillion ways and means. We are not talking about... I can't rule the Deputy Senate President out of order. But I can only appeal to about 30 trillion ways and means, not what President Tinubu can bring. This Senate will not rubber stamp anything that we feel is not in the interest of Nigerians. And that's the reason why we are discussing. Am I right or wrong? Those who are in support of what the Senate President is saying, say aye. Those against say nay. So the DSP stick to the issue.
Now, but that does what we pass. So we are open to investigation. And there was a caveat at that time that we're going to investigate. The details must be provided. So we are waiting. Anytime the Senate feels that we should go to investigate that, we investigate that. So for one now to say, for what happened then was a collective responsibility. And it was done in the interest of the nation and in line with our collaborative stance with the executive arm of government. I so submit.
Your submission is noted. But saying what you did at that time has put the nation in more mess economically. And therefore, because of the current economic situation we have found ourselves, that there is need for us to look at the details and to know whether they were rightly spent. But then there is somebody that must make a statement on this issue. Senate President Emeritus, dismissed Senator Ahmed Lawan, just say a word so that we can go into the next issue.
Paul, there is nothing that the National Assembly that makes laws on them that cannot look at them and consider them. If there were expenditures wrongly done in contradiction to the provisions of the Constitution, the National Assembly can look at the expenditures, and if sanctions are needed for unlawful or wrong or unauthorized expenditures, the National Assembly can provide the sanctions. That is one. Secondly, Mr. President, what the 9th National Assembly approved or ratified in terms of ways and means was not 29 or 30 trillion. It was 22, but there was 819 billion to attend to deal and address very serious infrastructural dilapidations that we had across the country. So it was not 30 trillion. It was 22, and then of course the one we had made it almost 23. So if we have a ways and means that is 30 today, that means something happened between then and now. And it's for the National Assembly to find out what happened. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, nobody in this chamber should suggest that we shouldn't look to anything that we feel is in the public interest. But let me say this very clearly. What Nigerians want today is food. What Nigerians want today is food and security. This belongs to the medium term or long term action that we need to take. How are we going to provide food for Nigerians and protect their lives tomorrow or from today? This report talks about it. Mr. President, let's not put the cart before the horse. Let's consider it necessary to look at what happened in the past. But we are in the present, and the present is so unpleasant. And we have to act very, very swiftly. Thank you very much.
Things that have put us where we are today. That we are saying that the expenses that were not explained, the expenses that we don't have details about, put us in the indebtedness that we are seeing today. The expenses that we don't have details put us in the indebtedness that we have today, and therefore has affected even the ability of government to provide essential needs and services for the public. That we need to look into those things. However, that what is facing us today is a current food situation, food crisis, immediate crisis. So we need to look at what we can do in the immediate to put food on the table of Nigerians. And that is the most emergency we have. And then the aspect of looking at what went on, whether ways and means, whether anchor borrowers program, whether intervention funds, whatever, those are things that constitutionally we are empowered to do, and we shall do so. And if we need to do so, we can agree here on how we are going to take care of those things. But let us look at this report and see the recommendations that can assist the federal government to bring the current food insecurity to a minimal level, and then stop the discomfort. I think that's what we are looking at. So let's look at resolution 4.1, the recommendation here, and then we amend them into 3 parts. The first part will be the issue of by the way, why we got to 30 trillion was because of the interest element. They brought that before this current Senate, that the interest had accrued on the 23 trillion that was passed by the 9th Senate, and that it was, they needed additional approval of 7 trillion, which was the interest. So we passed the interest, and then that's what added to become 30 trillion. Okay, so recommendation 1. Who is going to propose the first, because we are going to break them into 3 or so. Senator Yaya, see whether you can propose the first and second.
Thank you, Mr. President. Money, the ways and means intervention programs that culminated into 30 trillion plus interest, particularly the intervention programs with manufacturers, anchor borrowers, and banks, and the power sector, particularly. If we can have an ad hoc committee to interrogate and manufacture, that's what I'm saying. You know, the anchor borrowers, to interrogate the intervention program that culminated into 30 trillion ways and means intervention, which involved the anchor borrowers program, monies or loans given to manufacturers, monies or loans given to power distribution companies, and monies also that were given to show up the banking sector and other such airlines and such other types of interventions. So this ad hoc committee should be set up to interrogate these so that we know exactly what had been done with these resources. This is in keeping with the promise that was made to the 9th Senate that the details of that intervention will be given, which we never received until the end of life of that Senate.
I hereby second the motion moved by Senator Abdullahi that we set up an ad hoc committee to interrogate and investigate all those things. Yes. I saw second.
So, distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that the ad hoc committee be set up to interrogate the details of the ways and means, their disbursements and usage, particularly the intervention programs such as the Anchor Borrowers Program, such as excess funding in the power sector, such as monies given to manufacturers and banks, and the airlines, and etc., to show up, which of course increase the current debt profile of the country. Those in support of the motion as moved and seconded say aye. Aye. Those against say nay.
A quick information before we sign out: a valedictory session in honor of late Gali Umar Na'aba, former Speaker, House of Representatives from 1999 to 2003, held at the Green Chamber on Thursday. The session was graced by both serving and former principal officers and family members as well as friends of the deceased. May he continue to rest in peace. Whereas a couple of other issues, especially as the border on the state of the nation, came up as motions and way of order proceedings at both chambers. However, this is the much the time permits us today on the program. Thank you for coming through with us all the way. Friday next week is another date. Join us again. And remember to watch all editions of The Maze on our YouTube channel, ASO Radio and Television. Like our page and do subscribe. I am Rosemary UKOKO-TEGA.